Hello, this is János. It's Real World Audio, and we are looking at special recordings. And yes, it's mono time again. I'm going to show a few of my favorite mono recordings. These were all done with one microphone, and they have a very important place because it's not something that I would discount on, and I think of all of my recordings, these are some that I would definitively keep if I had the opportunity only to choose some recordings. So let's say if there was something happening and I only saved these, I would be a happy camper. And why is that? And that's because mono does have the potential to really take you to the heart of music, and and especially these recordings, which were done over half a century ago, they really take you back in time, and it's like checking out a time capsule. It's really totally uncanny. And when you have a system that's properly set up to play mono, to give it back to you, it's really heart-rending. I cannot even find the words to describe the experience. It's an experience that's at such a deep level that really, I would say, to me, at least to me, everything else pales in comparison. And not because when you are, many of you would say that of course today we can make recordings that have like a better technical aspects or more fancy technical aspects, and recordings that will say, I mean, that's, let's say, they sound so much more fancy on today's 99.9% of audio equipment that's sold commercially. And that is perfectly true. When you pick today any audiophile recording and play it on a commercial audiophile system, it will sound so much more wow, so much more hype than any of these records that I'm going to show you now. But this channel is really about opening up our minds to possibilities that go beyond a very narrow, very tiny and diminished world that's really just broken and cannot think of anything else, just the latest news, the latest 1 minute video, and the latest newest format, and the latest new audio gear that cost just 10 times more than what you could afford, and and going back to mono is really breaking with this sort of mentality, with this sort of thinking and attitude, and it's totally putting away that desire that you want instant gratification on a 10-second really special effect recorded in DSD or I don't know what. But all of these albums are albums that you put on and you listen to the entire album, and then, even though all of these albums were made at a time when I wasn't alive yet, but I am quite sure that all of these have the power to take me back to that time, to experience what my grandfather experienced when he was young, or what my father experienced when he was a baby, and take us to a very different reality that was present on earth and that's gone by today. And well, this might seem maybe a little bit sappy or dreamy, but I can say that I am a music lover, and what I get from these recordings and what I cannot get from any live performance today or any of the newest recordings today is the interpretation of music that we had half a century ago. And when you listen to these records, then the really crucial part, the really key and critical part and aspect is that it's presenting something so different than what we have today. I know that there's some silly debates today, which is better, stereo or mono, analog or digital. I think that's all cat poop. Here I can show you guys two pooped out cats, and those discussions and arguments are not worth anything more than cat poop, and that's because when I listen to let's say we are just started to watch Expanse again because Nelly's cousin is here from Germany. She hasn't seen it yet, and during the nights we put on Expanse and watch it. And for Expanse, you know, it's in a digital format, the sound is in digital, and it's fantastic, it's phenomenal, it's amazing. It transports me to a 23rd century future Earth. Well, it's not the future Earth, but it's a potential. It's a visual imaginary fantasy that could very well happen, and the digital format is perfectly suited and just the most excellent to transport me to a 23rd century reality, and it's stunning. However, when I'm going back to a 1950s 40s reality, then this is what is going to take me back. And if we are doing digital transfers of these recordings, something is lost in translation. And I'm not saying that you cannot enjoy a digital version on a fully DSP modern digital amp, class D amp system. But what I'm saying is when you play these in their native format in a system that is that reflects an early system that we had over half a century ago, built with design parameters and the mindset. That was the key difference between then and now, and that mindset focused on the human voice, on mid-range, instead of today's mindset which focuses on the extremes and doesn't care about the mid-range. And when your system has that mindset that the recordings had and you play it, it's going to stop your heart literally. And so okay, I hope this a little bit gives everyone a little teaser about what you can expect from mono recordings. And now I just, without further ado, present these 4 LPs to you. And one of them is Schubert's Trout Quintet, and I believe that John DeVore, he has his YouTube channel where he presents music. I think he has shown this record to you guys. Not this one, but his copy. This is mine. And he said that this is one of his favorite. And I totally can believe it, because this is an absolute wonderful, absolute fantastic Schubert interpretation. And when you look at the performers, there's Shimon Goldberg on violin, and look, William Primrose on viola, and we have additional people who are not that well known today, or don't have that much reputation as these two performers. But when you see these two names, then you know that you have something quite special for you. And let's just have a look at the catalog number. And this is a sixth lacquer. This was printed from the sixth lacquer, so it means that it's not an early pressing, but I would say maybe it's kind of an earlier pressing, but it's not a first, second, or anything like that. It's not the cream of the cream, but a good and decent one. So a sixth lacquer, which is called as a 6S on the dead wax. That's still pretty good. So when you find records like that, they will give you a pretty good sound, that when you have a very revealing system, they will play it very, very nicely. And if your system is not revealing, then if you have a very early pressing or mid pressing, it will not show you that much difference. It will play everything as if it was a late pressing, and an early pressing will sound a little bit different, a little bit better, but not that much. And when your system can reveal more and more, then the differences between a first pressing and the mid and late pressing will become drastically, absolutely enormously drastically different. And that's how you can find mono treasures. That's when the mono recordings will truly shine, if you get an earlier pressing, an early copy. Because if it's a later one, then you will get that feel, that when whatever we feel when we hear an opera singer, and like here there's a Renata Tebaldi, and this is a London FFRR, and this is like a recital of songs and arias. So this is just a mixed record from very different music. Look, Anon. He is one of my favorites. He's anyway. It has a really wonderful selection of songs and arias, and in general I do not like selections like this. I much prefer the whole piece presented on a record, and I can identify with that much more easier than just a bunch of haphazard arias put together. This is a little bit going towards like a playlist that we just put our singers' favorite areas there. It's not as good as the real deal of having the entire pieces. Yet, if it's an earlier pressing, then it really lets you hear the singer. And what I have noticed is that when we have especially Maria Callas, but Renata Tebaldi as well, what we think of them and what our entire generation thinks of them is that their singing sucks, because they are just those piercing sopranos that when they're singing like that kind of sound, that you know, like kind of like unbearable, totally your head is exploding. and it's nuts. And when you find most of the records where Renata Tebadi is singing, and they are like rate pressings and worn out copies and things like that, it's just everyone will say this is just a beat up old recording done in an age that's done and over. Let's forget about it and go for digital recording of modern artists. They are so much more talented, we have so much better technology, blah blah blah. However, recordings like these really humble everyone who has that kind of attitude towards recordings done half a century or more ago. And this record is something that really stopped me dead in my tracks of automatically discarding aria selections like this. And I learned this because I have found that I have, for example, like dozens and dozens of Maria Callas albums, and I have a single one which is only of that quality where I can hear her sing, and it's the most beautiful, most transcendent, feminine voice I ever heard recorded. And it's not just that shriek that we get from those distorted later pressings. It's absolutely incredible. And this album is the same. So if you can find one that's in a good condition and hopefully an earlier pressing, then you will be very happy. But for London, you don't have to worry about pressings because they took much better care of their lacquers than RCA did. So if you find this record with that catalog number, then it most likely will be a keeper for the wait, was I showing? No, I was showing, not there yet, I was showing the Trout Quintet. If you find this catalog number, it will only show its true potential when it's an earlier pressing. I have more to show, but we are already at 17 minutes. Well, anyway, I show this as well. New orthophonic high fidelity recording. Yeah, I picked it up for 50 cents. How about that? And here, this is actually the Robert Shaw chorale singing, and the lady is listening to them. So this is not a female singer album, it's a chorus, and it is the quiet music, and the three-dimensionality of the chorus is staggering. It's as 3D as any chorus can ever be on a recording, and as beautiful as it can be, and it's going to take you back in time. And listening to this recording, I don't find it any different how it affects me, how I perceive it, than staying at a concert hall and listening to a chorus. And I'm saying that with the remark that I have several friends who are singers in choirs, and I have listened to a fair share of choirs in my life. So it's not something that, it's not a light-hearted remark that I say about how a chorus affects a human being and what makes a chorus believable and human. There's one more recording. I'm going to share this as well. Look at that. It's called Cup High Fidelity. I think I have to remove. I'm sorry. Maybe I try to do this one-hand trick. Okay. I am removing. I have removed success. Oh, look. There's still a piece here. and actually the number there is KL1066. So if you are looking into that, Jane Morgan and the Troubadours fascination, and this is what I wrote as the summary of this record, is just astonishing. So if you are looking for female vocals, look no further, and this will really make your night. So if you want to listen to something special, then after work or after a fulfilling day, when you are at peace, just grab your favorite drink, turn off the lights, put on this record, and get ready to meet Jane Morgan. So thank you for listening. Have an amazing day. Please like and subscribe my videos. Bye bye.